The most common question I've gotten since starting my YouTube channel is, can I make a PKing guide? So that's exactly what we're doing today. Finally, an in-depth PKing guide for beginners. If it helps you out, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe. I've laid out a contents page for your convenience so you know exactly what we're talking about and you can skip to the appropriate part. So before we get into any of the tips and tricks to take down your opponent, first of all, you're going to want to build an account, a specific PKing account. This is the most important stage, the account build. You're going to want to build the most powerful account you can possibly create for its combat level, otherwise you're going to be at a disadvantage against your opponent. The list of different PKing account builds goes on and on and on. I'll list some on screen. They all have their advantages and disadvantages, but I can't tell you which one to make. It is completely just preference. So what I'd advise is going on YouTube and watching some videos, because pretty much every single account build someone has made a video on. However, the basic principle is to have very high offensive stats and keep your combat level down. So you keep your combat level down by having a lowish prayer level, a low defense level. So that's why 1 defense peers are very, very popular, because they're very low combat. You can be level 88 with 1 defense, 75 attack for a gold sword, and 99 strength with 52 prayer for smite. So for example, if you made a 60 attack, 45 defense Zerker, it has 99 range and 85 strength. This combat calculator you can get on Google will tell you how many levels you can gain without affecting your combat level. So I'm 88 combat, however, I can get 88 strength and remain 88 combat. So this is a very useful tool, because obviously, like I said, you're going to want to build the most powerful account build for your combat level. However, before you start any of these accounts, I recommend looking up a guide before you ruin your account, because some quests give you like defense XP. Yeah, just go do your research. Next step, I'll just give you a few training spots which may be very helpful. Rock crabs north of Releka or on Waterbirth Island. Sand crabs south of Zaya. Yaks after the Frenetic Trials quest. Slayer for a range of different tasks. And I highly recommend Nightmare Zone, because you can gather points for your imbued rings later. For fast range training, you can cannon at the ogres after the biohazard quest, but for the best XP you can chin on Apatol. However, as a 1 defense pure, don't complete the quest. You need to do the range training before you complete the quest, otherwise you can't go back to the island or you're going to get defense XP. With 42 defense or higher, you can complete the Monkey Madness 2 quest and you can chin on there, and that is the best XP in the game. This is also viable for bursting as well on the ancient spellbook for mage training. Other methods for mage training, either just Alk, Stun Alk, or String Jewelry after the Lunar Diplomacy quest. Now you've decided which account build you want to create, you've got the stats and everything ready. Now onto the gear. Of course you want to be the most powerful you can for your combat level, but also you want to wear the correct stuff so you're not at a disadvantage as well. So most of the stuff you're going to be wearing is going to be tradable, which you can buy at the Grand Exchange. So obviously having the money in the first place is going to be a good idea, because some of the most powerful weapons in the game, such as the Dragon Claws and the Armour Godsword, do cost quite a lot of money and they are recommended. However, not necessary. And also you're going to need the money to train your stats, get your range level up, and if you're going for vengeance, you're going to need 94 magic. So green dragons, 500k to 1 mil GP per hour. Picking up white berries in the wilderness with a looting bag, no requirements, 500 to 700k per hour. If you have 70 defense or higher, completing the Mortania Hard Diaries, you can do barrows for extra loot, and also Mortmire Fungus for double fungus, and these are anywhere from 500k to 1 mil per hour. Do herb runs every hour and a half or so, you can make like 100k per trip. That's just a few options which might help you out, but there is pretty much every single method on there on YouTube, you just have to do your research. As a 1 defense peer, here are some recommended untradables and also some vital ones you may want to get. Monkey Madness for the Dragon Scimitar, best 60 attack weapon to train with and also melee PK with. DDS requires Lost City, a very good spec weapon. Barrow Test Anchor requires the Great Brain Robbery, the best 2-handed KO weapon out there. Animal Magnetism for the Alpha's Accumulator, it picks up your ranged ammunition. Desert Treasure for Ancient Magics, if you want a hybrid PK. The Mage Arena Mini Quest for the Zami Cape, the best mage cape out there. Horror from the Deep for the God Books, very good to PK with and also to train with. Recipe for Disaster for the Mythical Gloves, a very good alternative to the Combat Bracelet because it's very, very cheap as compared to the Combat Bracelet. The Combat Bracelet is 20k. Death Plateau for the Climbing Boots, however this quest will give you attack XP, so if you've been an Obby Moller, you can't get these. Fight Caves, my biggest recommendation if you have protection prayers. You can do it without protection prayers, however, if you're a beginner, definitely need protection prayers. Fire cape, it gives a strength bonus, it's pretty much necessary. Fire cape is kind of necessary. An infernal cape is an upgrade of the fire cape, however, I don't even have that myself. I've not even attempted it, but if you can try to get the infernal cape, you'll be at an advantage against your opponent. These are options. The decorative armor and the halo is from the Castle Wars minigame, and it just gives really good defensive bonuses for only 1 defense, without sacrificing any offensive bonuses either. All the items are showed in the 1 defense clip, apart from the Mithril gloves, and the Castle Wars armor is recommended for any account. So, the next account build is a Rune Pure or a Zerker, 40 defense, 42 defense for the Void, or 45 defense for the Zerker. This is a popular account because of Vengeance. This is pretty much vital. We'll get into it after. You need 94 magic and the Lunar Diplomacy quest. And basically what it does, it rebounds damage back to your opponent. It is insane. It's so vital. Pest control for the Void armors. It takes a very long time. However, it's definitely worth it, especially if you're a Void Ranger. It gives you extra damage and accuracy. Warriors Guild for the Rune Defender is the best shield you can wear. It gives accuracy and strength bonuses. Nightmare Zone for the imbued rings. Again, you could PK with these. However, I'd probably protect them because they take quite a while to get back, but definitely for training. Here's the big one. A massive list of requirements and quests. 175 quest points to achieve Barrow's Gloves. However, it is vital. The stat boost on this compared to a combat bracelet is insane. You definitely want to get this if you have 40 defense or higher. Barbarian Assault for the Fighter Torso. It only takes a few hours, however, it gives the same strength bonus as a Bando's chestplate. The Fire Cape again, definitely recommended. And then Fremennik Trials, if you have 45 defense for the Berserk Helmet, it gives a strength bonus. At level 55 defense, you can complete the Fremennik Isles quest and equip the Helm of Natus Knot. Highly recommended if using melee. And also the Dragon Defender, by completing the Warriors Guild. And then lastly, a level 70 defense and 70 prayer. The Piety account, Piety. It is insanely strong. Also, if you have 70 defense and you are using ranged or mage, you may want to unlock Rigor or Augury, 74 prayer and 77 prayer. A commonly asked question is, why do you get coins in a loot pile when you drop someone? Basically, the armors in my inventory right now, as well as the halo and the decorative armor, will need to be repaired for a fee from Purdue, and they will get a percentage of that fee. And also these items as well, don't bring them above 20 wilderness, or you will lose them on death. However, most of the other untradables can just be bought back from Purdue or picked up on death. On a 70 defense account, this is the gear that I would be wearing. Dragon boots is optional. If you're a beginner, wear climbing boots. They're pretty much just as good, however, a lot cheaper. A glory or a strength ammy. On 1 defense pures, I wear strength ammies because the accuracy doesn't really matter. I tend to wear glories with anything with defense, and definitely wear Ring of Recoils. It inflicts damage back to your opponent, and bring a spare one in your inventory as well. The range setup is very similar, basically wearing a magic shortbow, which is only 1k, black DI chaps. Keeping the fire cape, we don't really care too much about the arrows. Amethyst arrows are the best arrows you can use. And yeah, as you get more advanced, you'll use ranged into the two-hander, but what I recommend first is using melee. Unless you're ranged only, of course, but yeah, ranged to melee is a bit more advanced. On a Zerker, very similar. We're just exchanging the helmet, the Rune Defender, and the boots. As a Void Ranger, pretty cheap gear to be honest. Void, Glory, Magic Shortbow, Avers Accumulator, Snakeskin Boots, Amethyst Arrows again, and a Recoil and a Glory. As a 1 defense pure, completely different. If you have the decorative armor and the halo, wear it. If not, something like a hat and a 9-plate body or leather body or something. Unholy Buck if you're using melee and Dragon Scimitar. If not, Magic Shortbow, Amethyst Arrows, Strength Army, Fire Cape if you have one, Mithril Gloves and Climbing Boots. Now that you've got the hardest and longest bit out of the way, getting your stats up, getting all the gear and everything, you must now pick your KO weapon. This is how you're going to get your opponent to 0 HP. There is an unlimited amount of combos to go through. My favourite weapon to use out of all of these is the second to cheapest one, and that is the Granite Mole, requiring 50 attack and strength. The special attack drains 50% and it attacks instantly, so you can use any of these weapons and instantly into a Gmod smack, so you deal 2 lots of damage within the same hit. So you can potentially do 3 lots of damage in one hit because you can do 2 special attacks in one. So what you do is you double click the special attack bar and then into another weapon. So I usually do Gmaul into Godsword or Gmaul into Eldermaul. Make sure you're equipping a primary weapon with a special attack bar on it already, like a Dragon Scimitar or a Magic Shortbow in this situation, so you can instantly click the special attack bar as soon as you switch into the Gmaul. Because if it doesn't have a special attack already, you have to wait a second. There's all types of different combos. You can even do a 2-handed weapon into a double Gmaul spec, or in this situation an AGS spec because it only drains 50% into an instant Granite Maul, and the stacks can be well over 100. It's pretty much the exact same scenario for any of these weapons. They can all be used with a Granite Maul as long as it's 50% or lower. So a DDS into Gmaul, claws into Gmaul, everything. The Dragon Throne Axe is pretty much a Gmaul but for ranged, but a little less powerful. But it can be used with the Dart Bow because it only drains 25% spec. So you could do a D-Bow spec into a Dragon Throne Axe, or a Heavy Ballista spec into a Dragon Throne Axe. You've got your stats, your gear, your KO/spec weapon, now onto the inventory and what to bring. If you PK with Venge Runes, I tend to bring 20 Death Runes, 50 Astral and 100 Earth because it's really easy to bank. So I have my X option as 50 and I go 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And there we go, perfect. Bring 3 Super Restores because you don't want to get smited. I bring Super Restores rather than Prayer Balls, they're literally like the same price. Well, a spare recoil, an instant tab. You don't want to be teleporting with a glory, you need that instant teleport in there. And something I highly advise is to build your own house. Maybe not an ornate pool, but get a spec pool. It requires 65 construction and have like basic teleport so you can get back to your fight very fast. So my house is perfect. I drink the ornate pool, which restores everything. I go over to my jewelry box and I can teleport to the Grand Exchange or wherever I'm going. A big question I get asked is, what are these green tea things? These are Guthix Rests. If you've completed one small favour, you have access to this. If you've got Piety, you'll already have them because you need to do the quest anyway. And basically, say if I'm on about 64 HP, someone can easily 1-tick an AGS. A 1-tick is where I won't be able to react in time and I've just got an AGS to 64. So that's why I bring pizzas, because I can pizza to 75. I'm pretty healthy on that HP. However, if I'm around like maybe 67 HP, I'll drink a Guthix Rest, and what it does is it heals you 5 HP and it doesn't interrupt you still attacking. So you can carry on attacking as normal and drink the Guthix Rest. However, if you eat any other food, it delays you from attacking again. And basically you've got 4 sips of a Guthix Rest. It's just super helpful when you just don't want to get 1-ticked an AGS. Guthix Rest up, carry on attacking. So I highly advise bringing pizzas and Guthix Rest if you had them, because you don't want to eat a shark on 62 HP because that would be a save. However, if you're on 62 HP and you eat a pizza, 73 HP, that's fine. Now then, these Karambams are combo food. I'm sure you've all heard of them. Basically, you can eat them at exactly the same time and you heal a lot. You heal 36 HP, 20 off the shark and 16 off the Karambam. And that's what the brew is there for. You can even combo eat a shark, brew, Karambam just like this. You ready? All in the same hit. So if you're getting comboed, you're about to get specced. It'll take some practice, you know, to get your clicks right and everything, because you want to do it as fast as you can. The organization of your inventory is pretty important, but it's all just preference. This is how I like it. I have my spec weapons at the bottom, so when I go in for a spec, it's right there. And obviously, as shown before, the combo E is very easy to do right here. It's completely just preference. Just mess about with it and whatever works for you. Next, I would highly advise setting up your own F keys. I already have some bound to my computer, but basically it's where you use your F keys on your keyboard and you can switch between these tabs without having to click on them. Because if you're going to go in for a spec, you don't want to have to do this. No, definitely not. So getting used to F keys is 100% something you need to do. So I have F1 as my inventory, F2 as the armor tab, F3 for my prayers, F4 for the mage book, and F5 for spec. But that is completely just preference once again. And these are vital because if you have vengeance, switch to F4, you right click the vengeance and you're getting ready for the spec like this. The next step is to know your bracket. Know what your opponents can hit with certain weapons. There's a tool just like the combat calculator, a max hit calculator. You can see exactly what they can hit as a normal hit and as a spec. So you don't want to be camping on 53 HP when your opponent can hit like a 55 smack with a Godsword without a spec. I mean, it completely depends what level bracket you're in, but for Zerkers and Pures and all that, you want to be sticking around 70 to 75 HP, I would say. and always eat pizzas and stuff at around, 60 to 65 HP. You don't want to be staying around that. You may have heard of the term PID. PID is who has priority over another player. It is randomized. It changes every 60 to 90 seconds. In Pking, whoever has the first hit. So if you hit at exactly the same time, one of the players' hit will show up slightly before the other player. And this is pretty important to know in Pking. That's because, say if both players are taking a risk, you're both on very low HP, however your opponent has PID, they have first hit. Their hit's going to show up before yours, and they could KO you before you even get a chance. Even though you're both hitting at exactly the same time. It gives you an idea of what's a good risk to take. If you have PID, your opponent has no time to react to the spec, as long as you do it properly with the one tick. However, if you don't have PID, you have a slight time to react. As you can see, the swing of the Gmaul, you have like a tick to react, which is about 0.6 seconds. The best way to tell who has PID is by hitting at exactly the same time. However, usually the animation is still going on and the hit appears. As you can see in this situation with the magic shortbow, the arrow's still in the air and the hit splat appears. However, when you don't have PID, the animation is finished and then the hit appears. Speaking of ticks, this is the time that RuneScape runs on. Ticks are every 0.6 seconds, meaning there's 100 ticks per minute, and each weapon attacks at a different speed. So most weapons like a dragon scimitar or a whip is every 4 ticks, which means it's every 2.4 seconds. It's important to know the speed of each weapon so you can learn how to one tick. I'm sure you've all heard of one tick before. I've mentioned it in this video. It's basically so you pull out your KO or your spec weapon without your opponent having any time to react. You pull it out basically at the latest point on the last tick. And it literally all just comes down to practice. It's really easy to practice. You can literally just practice in Castle Wars or the Duel Arena with your friend, and you'll know when you've performed a one tick because your opponent won't have any time to react. You have to be extremely quick, and especially in 2017 Pking, this is definitely something you need to learn, because everyone is pretty good at Pking these days. So you can learn to one tick, they won't have any time to react. AGS Gmaul, not a chance. Also, if you don't one tick the special attack weapon or the KO weapon, your opponent will be able to read when you're about to spec, and they can venge your spec and anti-stack you. There's also a method called the pot trick, where you drink a potion or a Gothic rest, then spec straight after it. It will hide your animation. The only problem with this is it's kind of easy to read when they're about to spec, even though they're hiding the animation. And also you can't eat straight after, so you can easily get anti-stacked out. I wouldn't recommend it. Vengeance rebounds 75% of the damage that's hit on you to your opponent. I can't stress this enough. Please don't spam click the vengeance every 30 seconds. I see so many people do it. Most of your KOs will come from a vengeance combo. It's all about that timing. There's 2 ways going about a vengeance. Venging when you're going for a spec. So, you might be able to one tick their 70 HP. However, sometimes it's unlikely, so what if you time that in with them hitting your vengeance so you get the spec and also the vengeance hitting them as well. So not only are you going to try one tick the spec, you're going to want to venge at the very latest point, at the very last tick that they hit you. If you venge too early, they're going to expect it. So again, it's all about practice. You can click on the floor so you attack at the exact same time. So you venge, they hit you spec, boom. They're gone. It's extremely useful in Darok Pking because not only are they going to hit you to lower your HP so your Darok Axe hits more, they're also going to hit your Vengeance and the stacks can be insane. It's so important. However, if you spam click the Vengeance, your opponent can take advantage of that. They can instant Gmaul that Vengeance, which lowers their own HP into the Axe, and it can be an insane combo. The next method of venging is by trying to venge their KO weapon. So if they can't one-tick it, you can easily predict when they're about to spec, venge it, and if you venge like a 70 AGS, that's huge damage going back to them, and usually when they spec, they're risking low HP, and you can kill them that way. However, obviously your opponent is trying to do the exact same thing to you, so you need to be careful to try and not get venge stacked out yourself. So if you're hitting at the exact same time and they have PID on you, they can easily venge stack you out without you knowing. If they can one-tick that AGS, you hit their vengeance, you are gone. So helpful tips, you can click on the floor so you hit at different times so you're not going to get venge stacked out. Just be careful hitting that vengeance. always be aware of that. And this answers the question that a lot of people ask me, why do you take your armor off and why do you drop food? I drop food so it gives me invent space at the start of the fight so I can take off my armor and go for the venge stack. If I take off my armor, they're more likely going to hit my vengeance, so I can go in for the venge stack. But, you know, that's a little bit more technical. Once you get the basics down, then you can start doing that. It's all down to practice, just like anything. Tournament worlds is a good idea. You get unlimited supplies, unlimited gear, practice with your friends, or go to clan wars. Go to free-to-play PKing, no vengeance, no special attacks, it's literally just range to two-hander. And literally just sit there in a bank practicing your switches so your clicks are a lot more accurate. This was literally just the basics. There's a lot more to it, so if anyone would like to add anything in the comments below, feel free to do so. Maybe I can make a round 2. But yeah, if it did help you out, be sure to give the video a like. It did take me a very long time to make. I'll see you very soon, and peace.